Okay, so first off, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you're watching this video. For me, it's mid-morning. I woke up and everybody's still sleeping. I've done kind of my morning routine, got done. So besides it being a little bit windy outside, I don't have any kind of noise or distraction. So I'm going to be making my first video on training and commands. Now, as you can see, I do not have a dog. I do not have a puppy with me. And that's because this video is going to be video 0. It's not going to be video number 1. It's going to be video 0, which is just what we are going to need to do and basic education on training. Now, you're going to think, hey, I'm not going to need this video. Let's get a dog and let's go. I prefer to be prepared when I get ready to train. And if you've never trained a dog or a puppy, this is definitely going to help you, because when you go to a dog training class or have some kind of dog training service, the majority of the time they're talking, and what they're telling you is basically what I'm going to be going over now, so that way when we do get into the training, you'll have a better idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So with that, let's get into the video. Okay, so I am a dog trainer who will use all the tools in my toolbox. I will just, some stuff works better with some dogs than others. And basically what you want to have is a good solid foundation on a dog or a puppy, which means you want to start even before the sit, stay, and just start giving commands. So when you have a dog or a puppy, you need to figure out which is the best way to reward them. The rewards are verbal, physical, or you can reward them with something, a treat or toy. So verbal is just a, woo, yay, you did it, good, 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 good. Physical is pets, rubs, just good physical reinforcement, touching. When you have somebody or have a puppy that you want to reward, I would say definitely use a toy that they're interested in, something that's going to get their attention, something that's going to keep them focused. And also, when you're doing treats, I would do treats that are small. You do not want to be giving your dogs these big old treats that's going to take 30 seconds to eat. So just to give you an example of toys that I use for training, and especially with puppies love rattles. They love the noise. So I have rattles. I have the toys with, it's like plastic that you can use to just kind of make a plasticky noise. And then we have the toys that actually squeak. This is one of the ones that puppies really do like, even older dogs, but you do have to be careful because older dogs will shred these in like a minute and go after the squeaker, and you do not want to have the squeaker lodged in their throats. If you're using a squeaker toy, please be very, very watchful of your dog to make sure that they don't get the squeaker toy and they don't swallow it. But it is a good training tool. So those are, and then I have a basket. I'm going to show you my basket real quick. When I go to my specialty dog store, I get lots of little samples of different dog foods, and these are what I use mainly for my training. A lot of different foods and samples here. It keeps dogs and puppies engaged because there's a lot of new stuff. The size of the treat is very important because you just want to use a very small instant gratification treat, something that, here you go, and they can just eat and you'll be on your way. I do like using an apron when I'm training. I used to be a server many years ago, so I still have my serving apron. You don't have to get any of those fancy dog training aprons. You just need, just like I said, you know, just a regular plain server apron if you have something like that around. And it's good to have a couple different pockets. My server apron had 3 pockets in it, so I could put treats, toys, and the items that I was using in each of the different pockets instead of having just one pocket mainly for treats. So, all right. I need a drink. Okay. Now, there are items that you are going to use besides toys and treats for training. And again, it just depends on what the puppy keeps interactive in. Other items you're going to use in training, clicker. I like the clickers that you don't actually have to keep a hold of. Clicker that is just right here on your hand. A clicker is a instant message that you are sending your dog or your puppy that is what I want you to do. So when you're training and you're looking for a certain something, you might take a half second too long for your brain to process it to your mouth, but you can instantly click. So let's say that you're waiting for a dog to focus on you and make eye contact. Once you see that eye contact, you can, yes. So once you do the click, they will know that that is what they're needing to do. So we have our clicker. I do have my gentle leaders. These things are awesome. They are usually used for walking and helping to discourage pulling, but I use these on especially larger dogs. After they are used to using these, when I put them on, it helps me get them a little bit more focused and calm, because I can actually get their attention a little bit more whenever this is connected to them. It's called a gentle leader. There's different sizes and colors. I usually get color corded different sizes. Like for instance, red is my large, my extra large. I have black for large, and then I think I have blue for medium, and then another color for small. So I color coordinate these so that way I know which size is which. But very good tool. I also use leads, not just leashes. This is a lead. A lead is just a smaller leash, basically. Now, it does not have the clip on it. It actually goes under their collar and you pull it through. And I use leads mainly around the inside of the house when I have a puppy that's kind of roaming around, and if I need to stop them or get their attention, I can do that while this is dragging on the floor. If I want to teach them to follow me, I can actually have the puppy on this end, and then if I have a belt, I can just loop it around my belt, so that way I can have the puppy with me and around me as I go through the house. So it's another good tool to have. Ooh, knocked over. Almost knocked over my stuff. Now going from lead to collars. This is a prong collar. It's also called a pinch collar. It is not meant to harm a dog. It is meant to give a correction. So I do see a lot of people, when a dog has these on, pull way too hard, and that will cause an injury. This is a item that I use on either big dogs that I need to get control of, dogs that are rowdy, that need more controlling. This is meant to make what they're doing uncomfortable in a pinch-like way. It does have removable pieces, so that way you can size down. So definitely make sure that you know how to size and how to use one of these. Later I'll make a video on this, but pinch collar. I actually do love my Dogtra collar and remote set. This is a set with 2 different collars, but they're both controlled by one remote. And I love that because I'm not having to use 2 different remotes for 2 dogs when they're both outside. It is a vibrate and a shock collar. Now, I will never use the shock feature on a dog younger than a year unless they are super big and super rowdy, where I do need to get control of them, because having control is the first step of training a dog. If you don't have any control of a dog, you are not going to get anywhere with them. And disclaimer, shock I will use on the lowest possible setting. I will not turn it up and just shock them and shock them and shock them. No, 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 no. When you're using a collar like this, you need to be educated on how to use it, because you always want to use the vibrate feature first. A vibrate feature is a feature that lets them know, hey, you're doing something bad, stop. And if they continue to do that, then you do a vibrate and then a shock. And when you're doing the shock settings, again, you want to use the lowest one where it actually gets their attention. Nothing to where they're screaming or hurting, okay? I have seen people use these and the settings that they have on are ridiculously high, and it makes me so mad that I want to put a shock collar on the person using it, because they are abusing a great tool to use, but it's definitely one to use, I would say, as a last ditch effort to control a dog. But yes, I do use them, and I have used them. And again, educating yourself before you go and buy, before you go and use, you definitely need to make sure you know what you're doing, because you do not want to hurt the pet that you're training. That is definitely, there's a fine line with that. When I do training also, and I am training a dog that I know has already got a good foundation, I do like to use bully sticks. Bully sticks are a treat that I use, especially when I need something, for instance, like a leave it. I hate using like dry food and stuff in that. This is kind of what I use as a tool on when I need something to tempt the dog, but I want them to not get it. For instance, again, the leave it is a good one. Whenever they want this, I can actually lay this on the floor or have this in my hand, and I'm not getting dog food all over me. I'm not getting, you know, canned dog food, little bitty dog food bits and stuff like that. So this is a good tool to use as a lure, but something that you're not going to want to give up. All right. And again, some of this stuff makes sense, some of it doesn't, but later when you see me training with a dog, it all falls into place. So also training, when we go into training, I started this a long time ago and I got away from it, but I do have these recordable buttons from Amazon, and you record your command in them. And these I started to do because I thought it would be so cool to have my dogs learn how to do certain things and be vocal. Well, not vocal them, but through the button. And it worked for a while, but it kind of got away from me because I started doing other things. I wish I could have continued with it, but these are awesome. And one example is whenever you're teaching them the touch command, which is kind of like a high five or a shake. you want them to touch a certain thing. I would have them touch this. Oh, that one is not working. Let's try this one. Night-night. This is a night-night one. So night-night is what I would use when it's time to go to bed. Night-night. Night-night. Oh, you know what? I think I know why that one's not working. It's because my son was playing with it and he went to go record something and did not record it. So basically what you would do is potty. Potty. Okay, very awesome. You can put different commands to buttons. This one was a potty button, but it was a potty button, and I would keep it around the area where my dogs are. So if they did need to go potty, they would hit it. But every time they hit it, it was a potty time. And I was going out like crazy. But these are, again, awesome. I wish I could have continued with that. All right, so this is the part where we're just gonna kind of go over my board. I don't know if you can see it or not. You know, I will try to get a picture of it to put in the video. But again, this is going long, and I know what you're doing now when you're watching this video is you're saving yourself time, because later when we get into training, like I said, when you see videos or if you go to classes, most of the people are talking and explaining. So that's what this video is. This video 0 is all that talking and what you're going to use, what we're going to do before we actually get into having a dog. All right. So the first thing we need to know are the 3 foundation words for training. Yes, good, and no. Easy, right? 3 words. Yes. Yes is, again, one of those instant words that you want to use. Yes means you did it. I like that. Keep doing it. When you're teaching a dog, for instance, we're going to go with the name. Whenever you're teaching them their name and they look at you, yes. Good. Good means, hey, you got it. I like what you're doing. Keep going. That is not a clicker. That is not a clicker word. Clicking, I associate with just the yes word. Yes, that's it. You did it. I want that. That's what this word means. Keep going. Yes means, yep, you did it. Good is, I like what you're doing. Keep doing it. Not any kind of clicker. I mean, everybody trains different, so if you want to do that, that's fine, but I just use with a yes. Yes, good, no. No. Now, no is a very corrective word. You don't want to be like, no, sweetie, no, we don't do that. You want to let them know if they're doing something wrong. No! You want to be loud and sharp. You can even, no! You want to get their attention on whatever they're doing that you're saying no. If they're chewing your shoes, if they're grabbing your blanket and running through the house, if they are biting your fingers too hard when you're doing an easy training, when you're doing an easy command. No! There is nothing soft about using that word. Now, when you do a correction with no, does not mean smack, hit, you know, be aggressive toward the, you know, you want them to know that I'm displeased. So 3 words, basic foundation words. Yes, good, no. Yes, that's what I want. Good, that's what you're doing. Good is, I like what you're doing, keep doing it. No is, hey, All right, so one of the first couple ones that we have here are the ones that I usually try to train first. And this is just kind of like my order of some things. If you have a different order or if you want to do a different way, you can. But name. Now, name, hey, name isn't a command. It's not a command, but it is a very important learned first. I would say it is kind of a command, but it's like one of those silent commands. It's putting a name to your puppy, letting them know who they are, giving them an identity. When I raise my puppies, I do not call them by names. Every puppy is puppy, 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 puppy. When I have somebody who does name a puppy, I will start to use their name in one-on-one interaction. But naming a puppy and then renaming it later if you have to, it's confusing. So we do not name our puppies here. We'll use names between us, like my daughter, she'll say, hey, where's Rose? And I'll be like, okay, Rose is over here. But we will not actually call the dog a name. So a name is a silent command. It's not an action. You're putting a name to an item. Like, for instance, you're putting a name to the dog. That also applies to if you want to teach them how to play ball. You will name the ball. Ball. You will teach them frisbee. You will teach them treat. So putting a name is kind of like a silent command where there's actually no action, but you are placing a name to an item, or in this case, your dog. So whenever we are training your dog, their name, you're going to want to get, I would say this is 95% of the time, it's smaller treats and a clicker. So when you're training your dog, its name, you want to make sure that you have instant yes. Yes. So you want to also make sure you have your little treats ready. So when you have your dog, and your dogs or your puppy is mainly going to be running around, so you want to try to do this in a enclosed area where you don't have a lot of distractions. But you want to try to get your puppy to be in front of you, and you want to say their name. Say their name. When they look at you, the moment that they give you an eye contact after you say their name, yes! Treat. You continue to do that. Say their name. Say their name. You get that eye contact where they look at you, yes! Like, for instance, we are going to be using Princess in some of the videos, and we are going to go over that with her, where we are going to put her in the area that's a bit confined with no distractions, and we are going to get her to learn her name. And again, name is one of the first things that I will teach. Now, when you're teaching a dog, there are going to be words that have more than one meaning. For example, there is the easy command, and some people will use nice. It's just teaching them to be gentle. Easy and nice usually are commands that I use when they're taking food from my hand or a treat from my hand, but also it's letting them know the mood that I want them in. So if they're around the house and they're jumping around and I can say easy, that kind of means calm down, you know, be gentle. And also I will use that when I'm physically giving them food and treats from my hand. Easy. When I teach them easy, of course you are going to have your fingers bit. You're going to have it nipped. You're going to have them just wanting to get at it. Instead of using your hand like this, where everything's in a point, put the treat in your fist first. Try to keep it where they can't get to your fingers. When they're smelling the treat, you easy and easy, easy. When they start kind of like smelling around, and that way they know that's what they need to do. Instead of going and biting, when they kind of like start smelling around and looking for it, that's easy, easy, or nice, nice. Some people will say, take it nice. I just kind of use one word commands, easy and yes. Focus. Focus basically means keep your eyes on me, okay? So while you're teaching them focus, you want them to pay attention to you. You want them to be interacting with you. You want them to be interested in you. You don't want to be boring. I mean, pups get bored really easy. They get easily bored. So do dogs, but puppies, you have to keep them engaged. I would train no more than about 30 minutes to an hour when you're doing your training session, because it does get boring for a puppy. Focus. Keep your eyes on me. Now, when you're focusing, I actually use an action with focus. I will take a piece of treat. I will put it in my hand and I will go like this. The treat will be here and I will go like this. When I'm looking at them, I will I will do it action first, and then I will go focus. When they look at me, I would treat and yes. Again, clicker is always yes. So I will put a piece of treat here and I will let them know, hey, focus right here. All right, and again, I don't know if I'm doing the camera, but I will put a piece of treat here and I will use my fingers to focus. This is what I want you to look at me. Continuing, come. Come is one of the first and most important commands that you can teach, especially a puppy. If you do not have a strong recall on your puppy, then you are going to be yelling outside for them. You're going to be calling them and they are going to ignore you. They're not going to want to come. You need to have a very, very good recall. So come. That means get over here now. Drop what you're doing, get over here now. That is one of the first starting commands that you need to teach a puppy. When you're teaching this come and a recall, you never, ever, ever punish a dog or a puppy when they come to you. You want them to associate that word coming to you being happy, being rewarded. You want them to know, hey, every time I come there, I'm going to get pets, or I'm going to get praise, or I'm going to get treats, or I'm going to get a toy. If you use that as a correction where you're trying to get them to you and that, they will just, they will get so used to not coming to you that, I mean, it's going to be a downhill battle. So you always want to have a positive reinforcement with your recall. So to teach this, I usually have a 30-foot leash and I will hook it up and I will keep the other part here. When I teach them to come, I have toys and treats and just all kinds of stuff on me to reward them when they do come to me. And again, a good recall is puppy, 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 come. And then you can drop the puppy, puppy, puppy later and just use come, because you're wanting to get their attention. And if they don't come, then I'll be like a fisherman and just start bringing them in. Come, come. And that is my way of teaching a recall. Come. Leave it is another important thing, especially for puppies, because puppies will chew. Puppies will get into areas they're not supposed to, and they'll try to take stuff and hide it. They will grab shoes, blankets, they'll go after cords, they'll grab stuff. And I mean, leave it is just a word that you're going to associate for them is leave it alone. So leave it. How do we teach leave it? Leave it is a stop and don't engage. So when we teach leave it, we actually have, again, that's where these come in. Leave it is trying to get a treat that, or a toy that they want, and it's something that they are super excited to get, but you're restricting them from it. You are not letting them have it until you are ready to, until you're ready for them to have it. So leave it, we teach leave it as, since we've got a basic focus and easy, teaching leave it will be pretty easy because we've got that focus. We want them to be focused, and leave it means you're putting it in front of them. If they try to go for it, it's again kind of like a no, but it's a different word with a different meaning. Leave it! Leave it! If they get it, you take it away, put it back in its spot. Sometimes I like to mark a spot, you know, with a piece of colored tape or something. I will put it right in that area, and I'll be doing something, and if they try to go for it or if they get it, I can actually see, hey, they moved it. Leave it means stop and don't engage. So you're going to continuously have to teach them leave it, because it's kind of like a little kid who want something so bad that they have to actually learn this patience, where leave it goes into being patient, because they're actually going to leave it and wait to see if you give them the okay. Like for instance, if it's a treat, hey, go ahead and get it. A lot of times whenever dogs go walking in that, and you know, there's stuff that they get into, a good leave it command is keeping them out of trouble. So next we go into the big three: sit, stay, down. All right, those are the next ones. Now we're getting more physical. We've got these ones here that are not as physical, you know, the good foundation here. Now we're getting into the being physical: sit, stay, down. Sit, there are two kinds of sits. There's a messy sit and there's a neat sit. When I first teach a dog sit, I don't care if it's a messy sit, as long as they get the gist of sit. We can always correct and tighten that up. So sit is where you have the dog in front of you, they're focused, and they already have a good idea of what easy means when they take a treat. So if they're on all four legs, you're going to try to get them to, you're going to lure them and try to get them right in front of you. If they're on all four legs, you can either bend down and place their bottom on the ground and sit. And you're just getting them into the action of doing the physical command. You're not actually putting a word to it yet. You're wanting them to get used to doing this action. After a few times, when you're doing it and they see the treat, their bottoms should automatically start going down. You will then grab your clicker. You'll have your treat, which is why I like having the clicker in my hand and ready. So once they start getting the motion down, you place a word to the action. So they know already, to get that treat, I have to put my bottom on the ground. So when you do that, you'll say sit. When they place their bottom on the ground, yes. Now, if they're smart and they do the bottom on the ground while you're preparing, take a step back, make them come to you, and once they get that action, reward. So a lot of dogs will get into the habit of doing the command before you say the command. So in order to get them to actually do the command that you want, you probably will need to take a few steps back, make them come to you, and then command. Once they get that command done, you reward. So for instance, if I have my puppy and my puppy's in front of me and I've already taught them the action without using a word, and she's just sitting or he's just sitting in front of me, and I want to teach them the actual verbal sit command, I will take a couple steps back, make them come to me, say sit. Once they do the command, yes, and reward. Okay? So once they get a sit down, again, if it's a messy sit, which just kind of means that they're lopsided or whatnot, you can always tighten that up later in different train. You know, you can have them sit on smaller blocks, so that way they're forced to kind of do a nice tight sit. Some people will try to teach a neat sit at the very beginning. I mean, if you want to try to go for perfection right away, that's something that is your prerogative, but I want to get the command down, and then later I can tweak that command. So once you get them in a sit, the next thing that you're going to the next step that you're going to do is a stay. So you want them to be able to stay. Stay is basically, I'm putting you in this place. It's a placement word. This is where I want you to be. Now, teaching stay is easy when you have a place for them already marked, or an area that they are comfortable in. For instance, I will either use one of my Clarus, which is one of those raised dog beds, or I will use a soft dog bed. I will try to use a physical marker when I start teaching this command, because if you have something physical that they get off of, you'll need to redirect them to get on that area again. So for example, when I teach my stay, I will have my puppies And this is where this lead comes in. Okay, it's shorter than a leash, but it's long enough that I can use it as a good tool. So I will have the lead on my dog. I will place them on my coolaroo. Now my coolaroo again is raised, so I'm going to end up spending like the next 15-20 minutes just keeping them placed on there, and they'll eventually get it. But what I do is I will have my coolaroo. I will have treats on the coolaroo. I will actually physically put a couple treats on the coolaroo. Place the dog. Stay. Now, when they're on there and they're staying, stay. All right? So you want them to be in that area. You want to associate stay with that word. Stay. Or not stay with that word. Stay with that area. When they get off of that area, you are going to make it like the floor is lava. You are going to make it look, no, and redirect them and stay. Okay. Now this one, I have a hard time clicking when they do it. So I click it when I say the word, because I want them to associate that word with where I'm placing them. Okay, and again, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but when I'm redirecting them, and if they're trying to get off the floor, no, stay, coolaroo, stay, okay? Teaching stay is going to take a while because it's something that they're going to get easily bored of, but you definitely want to do a good stay. A good foundation stay is when they place and they stay where you want them to do for a variety of minutes. Now, there is a, we're going to skip down just a little bit. When you do the stay command, there is going to be a release word, and we'll get to that in a second, but we're not going to skip too forward. But when you give them a stay command, you're going to do it, you know, have a realistic time frame. When you first start doing it, if they stay for a minute, great. Give them great praise. And then take that minute to 3 minutes. Take that 3 minutes to 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 10 minutes. You know, try to keep making it longer, but do not make a stay command and automatic, hey, you got to stay here for 30 minutes. Work on it and get it longer, okay? All right, down. Now, some commands, they get mixed up. So you need to make sure that you're using a specific word for a specific command. And the only reason I say this is because two of the most misused words on commands are down and off. A lot of people will misuse those because they will think it's the same thing. Down and off are not the same command. So down means that you are lying down, that your belly is actually touching the floor. That is not off. Down, a lot of people will say, get down from there. Do not confuse your dog with two different words that have two different meanings, okay? So again, sit, stay, and down. Down is a physical, I am placing my stomach on the floor, I am laying down. Off is, again, the next one that we're going to learn, but that is a get off, okay? So we have learned sit, we have learned stay, and we are going to down. Now, the reason why we learn these in this order is because you are transitioning sit into a good stay, and then from a stay into a down. So a down is basically them in a sit and stay, and you're taking a piece of food while they're in the sit position, and you are putting it in front of their nose because you have to kind of get down, and then you're placing the food to the floor. So you're physically having them go from a sit upright position to a lay down position. Okay? And again, you want to get them used to doing that action before you put a word to it. And then after they get that action down of what you want, then you can put a word to that action. Okay? Now we're going to off. Off, again, is a misused word. But basically it means get off. whatever you're doing, I want you to get off. It's either 2 legs or the whole body. So for example, I will use a lot of hand motions when I train. You know, focus, sit. I mean, they're just my hand gestures. I don't look at the handbook gestures of what you need to do a dog. It's just what I do. Like for instance, off, I use the swiping motion, off. So off means get off, okay? It does not mean down. Off means get off. So it refers to either 2 legs or the whole body. When I say it refers to 2 legs or the whole body, 2 legs means like if they're counter surfing, like if they're in my kitchen, or if they're trying to get their 2 front paws on my table, or if they're up here, you know, if they're trying to jump in that. Off means no, get your stuff away. Off for body means, for example, if their whole body is on the couch, that is a off. So off to me pertains to a 2 leg and a whole body scenario. So I use off as you need to move and not do that. Again, I don't know a better way to explain off except for get your butt off. You know, that's no, you we do not do that. I think I hear somebody getting up. Yep, somebody's up. All right, so there is a word, it's called a release word. So this pertains to that stay command. So when you have a command that they physically need another word to release them, which is why it's called a release word, I use the word break. So for instance, when a dog is in a stay, they should be in a stay until you release them. They should not be in a stay and then walk off. So you should be able to put a dog in a stay, walk off, do some things, and then come back and release them. So my release word is break. So break means go on, go do what you're doing, free time. You know, that's the word I use. Some other people will use different words, but I like the word break. All right, these 2 next are not really commands, but they're words that you will use for training. They're not physical words, but they are action words. So when you're doing potty training, potty, the word potty that I use in training is not the same as the word outside. Big difference between these 2 words when I train. Potty does not mean outside. Outside does not mean potty. Potty means get your business done and come back in. This is what I use mainly for mornings and night times, where I'm just like, okay, last call, let's go potty, do your business, and I'm not getting up in the middle of the night to take you out. So that is where I do potty. So when you're first potty training also, you want to go out when you want them to potty. You're going to have to talk to your dog. You are not going to just stand there and be mute. You know what I want you to do? No, you have to physically potty, let's go potty, let's go potty, let's go potty. Now, when you're doing that action, you're going to do it for just a little bit. Let's go potty, let's go potty. When they actually start pottying, kind of be quiet. Let them finish their business. And then right when they're finished, yes, you went potty, good, potty. Do not give them praise while they are still going potty. That will just, they will stop going, and you definitely want to make sure that you're making a big deal out of them going potty outside, but let them finish first before you know, don't wait 5 minutes and then praise them right after they're done. Yeah, yes, you did it. So outside. Outside is a word that I use whenever we go outside, play, walk, exercise. I mean, sure, there might be a potty in there, but it's a word that I say, hey, we're just going to go have some time outside. Okay, so potty and outside are definitely 2 different words. When I say outside, usually I'll have the balls, or I'll have a Frisbee or something, so that way they can associate, hey, we're going to be actually doing something outside. If we're doing any kind of training, I'll have my apron on, so that way they know, oh, we're going to be going and exercising, or we're going to be doing something fun. But outside is definitely another word that I use. And again, a lot of people will mismatch words. They'll use one word for something. They'll use one word for multiple meanings, which is why I'm making this video before we do any kind of dog training. So that way you know, hey, let's get the wording, let's get the tools that we need, let's get all of this talking done. So whenever I do start training, I'm not having to do a lot of explaining. I'm not having to do a lot of, this is the reason why. I will do actually, you know, hey, we are ready now, we're going into training. All right, I am a big kennel trainer. A kennel is not a punishment area in my house. A kennel is like a little bedroom. It's their space, their safe space where it's theirs. Everybody has their own kennels. Everybody knows where to go. During the different seasons of the years, I will switch my dogs. Like when it's wintertime, my long-haired dogs will be outside because they love it. Again, they are protected from the elements in that, but they love being outside. And my short-haired dogs are inside where we have heat, of course. My outside dogs also do have heaters, so no worries about that, but they're more comfortable when it's cooler outside. Whenever it starts getting warmer, I will switch my dogs from the long-haired being outside to the long-haired being inside, because I do put a little small air conditioner in our nursery room. And again, it's just something that I do to keep them comfortable. I do strongly use kennels. I do not let all of my dogs free roam all the time. I do not let a dog free roam until they are, I would say, around 2 years. And even when they free roam around the house, I only will have 1, maybe 2 dogs free roam. I do not let them just have full run of the house. I am very particular about the areas that my dogs go to. Not just for, you know, keeping my house from not getting eaten by dogs, but for their protection too, because I do not want them to get into anything, because I do have kids, I do have a lot of stuff around that can hurt a dog. So I am a big kennel user, and when I teach them the kennel, it is not ever, ever, ever as a negative. It is always a positive. Now, people will call it a kennel, people will call it a crate. I actually put a different word to it because I like to call it a night-night. Okay, that's why we have that button there. Night-night is the words that I use for the kennel because that's where they go whenever I want them to rest and relax and just kind of hang out. When they are going to start kennel training, I start kennel training very, very young. I get them used to being in a kennel. I get them used to coming out of the kennel, going into the kennel. When I say a command, that's when I say night-night, they know, hey, I got to get into my bedroom. Doing kennel training can be hard for, I would say, an older dog who is used to having free roam. It takes a lot more patience to kennel train a older dog. A dog that has anxiety, it's a little bit harder for them. You want to have a good, ample amount of space for your dogs. A kennel is not going to be something that you are going to have like a little travel kennel where you need to kind of keep them contained. A home kennel, especially my home kennels, are large. They have plenty of room to move around. They have their toys in there, they have their blankets in there, they have their beds in there. Sometimes when I do a deep cleaning, I have to take everything out and redo, sanitize, and get everything done. But for the most part, it's their area until we have to change the seasons. You know, dogs that were outside, inside, and inside dogs outside. But kennel training is pretty basic, pretty easy. You know, if you have a dog that is older and doesn't like it, you just kind of take it in steps. You know. Never use it as a punishment. Common sense things that people will overlook. You never strike a dog. You never strike or hit a dog to correct it. Or just in general, you never strike or hit a dog, ever. You do not want to hurt anything, living animal, whatnot. You do not want them to have any kind of fear. You do not want to have them have any kind of aggression toward you. So never ever strike or hit. Always give them great praise when they, well, I mean, you give them praise when they do something awesome. If you're just constantly praising your dogs, that's going to kind of get them immune to the whole, hey, you know, this is something good. If you're constantly, good boy, yes, you know, praise is good, but when it's constant, it kind of defeats the purpose of being a reward. But always praise a dog, especially when you're training, because you want them to have happy, energetic time with you. You want them to be, oh my goodness, I just love being with you. You are the person that makes my day. So always praise, whether it be verbal, yay, good boy, good girl, physical, you know, tummy scratches, head rubs, whether it be with treats or toys, playing with toys. Always praise. But basically when you're training, I mean, like I said, you want it to be a thing that they see as a positive. And if you're constantly being positive, it's not going to have the impact that you want it to have. Okay, so again, I know this video is running kind of long, but once we start getting into training, you'll see that I have all my stuff ready to go. And again, I'll get a picture of my board. This is how I do training. Again, everybody has their own training. I've looked at videos, and a lot of videos are just diving into it and then doing a lot of talking, diving into it and then doing a lot of talking. So what we're going to do here is, again, this is episode 0. So this is going to be the talking part first, the, hey, what are we going to do? Why are we using it? All of this, whatnot. When I start having the dog with me, we are just going to kind of start clicking this stuff off, because right now, if you've watched this video, this is going to kind of show you what I'm doing, what I use, how I get to where I am. But other than that, I definitely am happy if you stick around and watch this video. Again, it says dog training, but I don't have a dog with me yet, because again, this is going to be episode 0. It's going to be the foundation, all the talking, all the bulletins, and I'm repeating myself, I know, but this is what we are working on right now, is getting all of this done, so that way later when you see the other videos, you will know, hey, this is the why and how of what we're doing. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments. You know, try to be positive and constructive if you would. You know, if you have different ideas or different words or whatnot that you use in training, you know, let me know. If there's something that you would like to see a little bit more of, which again, we're going to go through all of this. Let me know also, at this point in time, I am definitely trying to do a little bit better on my channel. I'm trying to be a little bit more educational, and I'm trying to let just those people who are kind of like me, who just kind of like have a good understanding of what I want in my, you know, training as my dogs. You know, my dogs, none of this training here is for guard dogs. None of this training is for scent work. None of this training is for rescue or therapy or anything. This is just training for a good foundation for a dog. Common and very often used commands. So, all right. Again, I'm rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And again, like, comment, subscribe. I am trying to get better at what I do, and with your support and your kindness, I am hoping to just grow and get better every day. All right, thank you. Bye.